And this is
Over the Table.
Okay, struggle.
Well, today we're talking about Little Fires Everywhere. It's a new show on Hulu, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And what did you ladies think about it?
I loved it. It's over, right? I think
First season.
Hopefully there's a season 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was no season 2.
I
agree.
I loved it. I don't feel like I need a season 2. I feel like I had closure on all the characters. Yeah. I mean, I would like to see what happens to, I forget the girl's name.
Izzy?
No,
Izzy?
Penny. Oh my, Pearl,
Izzy, and both Izzy and Pearl. And I would like to see where their story goes. But I think I felt like it ended so well. Like I don't feel like I'm missing something. But it was a really good show.
a season 2 would be forced. A season 2 would be like, you know how sometimes you have a really good season 1 of a show and you're like, wow, that was really done. Like that was done really well. And in season 2 it was like, oh, more of the same stuff. And it's like, no, it's not the same, you know.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think it was saying about motherhood?
I think that it's hard. I guess like that it's just sometimes people make decisions that if all you heard was about the decisions that a mother makes, like you can say, oh well, she's a selfish mom. But I think like seeing the story and like the totality of like different perspectives, you're kind of like, okay, I can see why you made a decision like that, and maybe it wasn't the best decision, but like it's the best decision that you thought you were making at the time. I don't know. I think it just made me even look at like my mom differently.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think it also plays into like mothering styles. Like, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to be a mom or whatever, right? It all depends on your literally mothering style to your child. Because if you think about it, Pearl was looking for a mom like Elena or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And Izzy desperately needed a mom like Mia or whatever, right? But it's not like one is wrong and one is not. Even though I felt like Mia and Elena were wrong in certain aspects, but it was wrong in that that's not right for that specific child. Like you can't sit there and cart a 16-year-old girl everywhere for your art and stuff like that. She wants a little bit of stability. She wants normalcy or whatever, right? She's not an artistic like you, like in that traditional sense. If you gave birth to an Izzy, okay, that would have been like okay with her. She would have been all with it. Came to you with her sexuality problems and all that, you know.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I just love how they show that there isn't a right or wrong way. And like they showed like everyone was like layered, you know, like it wasn't like good mom, bad mom. It was like everybody was layered, and it shows that we're like mothers, and I think it actually reminded me of like situations that I go through with my mom, and I feel like it just showed that mothers are people, like parents are people too. So it's like they're going through their own stuff. Yeah, like they're going through their own stuff, and you can't necessarily always just judge them all the time because of the fact that they're humans too. And you know, like going back to like just thinking about how like God sees us, like we're all children of God, like no matter what age. So it's like everybody's still growing, everyone's still changing. Like it's not necessarily like you can just think of your mom in that parent role, because she's actually a child of God too. So it's like, you know, that really
both of the women. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was done.
Oh, but I'm saying like both of the women had unresolved problems that leaked into their motherhood style, and like both were problems that could have been easily solved long time ago before they had kids. Like Elena specifically with her like idea of like perfection and like how it like stopped her from being who she wanted to be. Like I think that's kind of why they put that whole scene with Paris when she was like living her best life in Paris with her other man and stuff like that. That she was like in a crossroads at that point in her life. Should I stay in Paris and like live a life uncharted with this man, or should I follow the plan and go back home to where are they from? Shaker Heights. Yeah, and then live this life that my mom planned out for me or whatever, right? So I feel like Elena has like complete control issues, and you can see that she never dealt with that when she was in her early 20s or whenever that, you know, phase of her life was. And like Mia, I don't know what Mia's specific issue is, but it definitely has to do with her mom. Like her mom and like the rejection that she felt.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's just like, you can't be I'm not going to say you can't be a nomad, because she was a nomad and she did it well. Like, I'm not going to say she was a bad mom, but it's like, I don't know, her inability to make roots. I don't know. I don't know what, like, because Elena is obviously control. What would you say Mia's issue was?
That's a good point. I think I feel like Mia, she probably had issues of, because I think she had self-acceptance. Like, she accepted herself and was comfortable in her own skin. But I think that she, in a way, felt like she was doing something wrong. I think it was probably something because her parents didn't approve of her choices, that she somehow felt like a failure, although it felt like, I don't know, and I felt like she was comfortable with herself, but like she wasn't really.
Yeah, no, because she, like, her daughter even said that. Like, she was like, I feel like she even wears her poverty like a badge of honor or something like that. So like maybe she felt like you know those starving artists and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I have to sacrifice for my art and stuff like that. She like made that so much part of her identity that it's like, are you rejecting success at this point? Like, you have like a $40,000 or $400,000 painting or like picture worth that or whatever, and you refuse to feed your own child off of that for 16 years? Girl, I would have been livid.
Yeah, I totally understood Pearl's anger and her pain and her like just rejecting her mom when she found out about that stuff, because I think I would have reacted the same way.
Yeah, like literally in the beginning, they're getting ready in a public bathroom. Like, they're getting their brushing. Like, we're getting ready in a public bathroom. You're telling me you have enough money to support this Asian lady that you just met with her legal fees and like this whole time?
Not even that. You gonna sit there and chastise me over this prom dress that this white girl bought me? Why couldn't you buy it? You have, Mom, obviously we have the money for it, Mom. Okay? No, I'm 16. All right? These are my priorities.
Yeah, and then she had the nerve to be looking at that white family talking about, oh, Mei Ling and not her baby. That's not your baby either. You say you're taking babies too. So where's the judgment coming from?
I mean, that was, I think, at the end, she said something like to the effect of maybe she helped the Chinese lady because she felt like that was, you know, like if, for example, the court sided with Mei Ling's mom, birth mom, that would have somehow justified her decisions in taking Pearl away from her father and the mom that she was supposed to have.
But like, why can't we be open with both cases? Like, why can't we have two moms? Why is it like honestly, why is it such like, no, you're my kid. Like it's even both moms were insecure about losing their daughters to each other. Like, Izzy is like, if I had a child or whatever, right? And, you know, obviously I'm connecting with that child, but that child is connecting with somebody else. Okay, I get it. I understand why you would feel a little threatened by it. But why can't that child have more than one mother figure? Why? For what? Why can't Mei Ling have her birth mother and her adopted mother? That is not an outrageous you know,
That would give her the best of
concept.
both worlds. That like she would have the best of both worlds in that instance, because obviously like her birth mom is not financially secure, but this adoptive mom would afford her some opportunities that the birth mom would probably never be able to. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, and I guess that brings the question of why do mothers in general feel possessive of their children? Like, why? Because they're not
I don't know.
and I think
Right.
I
don't know.
I swear, the older that I'm getting, or whatever, which I kind of wish we weren't recording this, because like the older I'm getting, I realize like I don't want love to be synonymous with possession. Like it shouldn't have to be completely synonymous with possession. Like, yeah, I love you or whatever, but it shouldn't be like, oh, I only love you. That's it. It's like my fealty is to you and only you. I don't even know any other person that's around. Like, honestly, you shouldn't be threatened by somebody else loving somebody that you love as well. Like,
yeah,
I feel like now you're creating a community, you know, like there's no issue. Like no one's going to steal your spot of being a mom. And I feel like a lot of characters were defending their right to be the one and only mom in a person's life. And it doesn't have to be like that.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. And I don't know if it has to do with like or as women, I think women crave for stability and security. And I don't know if our maybe that's a general woman, I don't know, like sexist comment to make, but I feel like generally women want stability and security. And if like somebody else is a mother figure, that kind of robs them of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was that scene where Reese Witherspoon was talking about like comparing loving your child to like a fruit, and like I thought that was really deep when she was like, it's like wanting the entire fruit, and like you want to bite it, but all you can really get is just the sense of it. And like I don't have kids, so I don't know how that love is, but maybe it's a type of love that, you know, you just feel that connection where you just want to be that only one. I don't know how that is, and maybe that's, you know, maybe I'll experience that from a mom, but yeah, she really explained it really well in that scene about like it being a fruit and you just want to bite it, but all you can ever do is just smell it. And so I guess, you know, it's a bond. I guess we'll see when we become parents.
Sooner than you guys.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Prego.
Yeah.
She's making her own person, guys. Very DIY.
Yeah. In the oven as we speak.
So what about the court case? Like, what did you guys feel about that? Like, did you feel like it should have went to the white adoptive family, or you know, stayed with the mom?
First of all, I also read the book, and like when I was reading the court case, I don't know why they truncated it so much in the series. Because when I tell you, Mr. Lim came to read, like he came with points, like legit, and like even the doll thing, like when I was I was a character in the court, but like when as a reader, when you were reading the court scenes or whatever, right? And he made mention of the doll and like how he wanted to find an Asian doll for his own daughter or whatever, right? And how like hard it is to find an ethnically representative doll or whatever, right? And she was like, oh, you know, I just got like, you know, like an original doll, like whatever. Da, da, da. You mean a white doll, sis? White is not the original. Like to make white the normal, or like that is like an idea of white supremacy, like this is the standard and everything else is marginalized, like literally just like that idea in itself is like white supremacy, because it's like you're making people who don't fit that feel like other. So you don't even understand how oppressive that is to have a child grow up surrounded by faces that don't look like her. That alone makes you feel other.
And the fact that they try to change her name, like the baby's name is Mei Ling. Like, what's up with this?
What's
Like,
not right? What's not good enough for Mei Ling? Because it's other? It doesn't like.
That's a very, very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Mika.
No, it's hard.
Oh, no, I mean, I just feel like they really, sorry, it's Zoom, so it's like awkward, like pauses and stuff. But yeah, no, I felt like they really touched on race really well in this show. Like, even like the black and white issues and just like immigrant issues as well. Like, there was like a scene where like the father goes like, people like Mei Ling never win. And I was like, that is so true when it comes to the legal system. Like, I feel like if you don't have status or money, they can care less about what you got to talk about. So they really touched a lot on that, and I appreciated it in the show.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one thing that I love is the fact that like they got the 90s right, I feel like, in the show. It's like every scene where they were
out either.
Yes, like when they were outside, I'd be like, okay, let me see if I see a new car around. And it's like, I think even the cars in the street were like 90s cars, and the like the things that the kids wore were 90s stuff. So I appreciated that side of the show too. I thought it was really well done.
It was, and it wasn't like gimmicky either. It wasn't like Zach Morris, like, you know, like it wasn't like, oh God, you know.
Yeah,
wasn't too forced.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you guys feel when Mei Ling took? Oh, spoiler alert, I guess. But when Mei Ling took the baby?
Oh, I honestly, side note, I love spoilers. Like, I always love talking in depth about a piece, and I hate when I'm like listening to a podcast or watching a show and they're like, oh no, that's spoilers, let's not talk about it. No, let's talk about it. So when she took that baby, I was all about it. Matter of fact, sometimes you gotta take what somebody wants to take from you. Like, that is a person that you made, and the court system is not always right. It's really not. And you're not gonna let like the courts take your baby. I made this baby myself. What y'all talking about? Like,
you know, the part of it that I agree that I love that she took her daughter and ran with her, but also I felt for the adoptive mom and dad, because
no, I did.
She heard her baby cry, and she was gonna get up to check on the baby, and the husband was like, "Just relax, honey. Like he is going to carry a lot of guilt for that.
I'm not gonna let him live." Oh, yeah. Remember when you told me to lay back down and I wanted to check? Oh, okay, all right.
You better go take out that trash. Like, any little argument.
We lost the baby, Herbert. We lost the baby. Always talking about stuff.
Oh man.
I'm like, that man is living with like a lot of guilt. That's one. And then two, I just
wanted her to relax.
Yeah, and I think the mom too, like, I feel like also because they also chronicled like the fact that she had so much trouble trying on her own, and she's had so many miscarriages. And this seemed like a gift from God that she found this baby. They just happened to find a baby in a fire station, and it was like just the right time that they needed some hope of having a kid, and like now here comes this baby. So I don't know. I felt bad for both parties, but I think ultimately it's like, I wonder if the birth mom will be able to provide a stable life for this child. Like, what kind of life is she going to have?
In the book, she figured out a way to get back to China. And Linda, or whatever, right? She finally got a chance to adopt a white child with consent of the teenage mom. I'm not sure. I have to reread the back, but like she got consent of the person who gave the child up, or whatever. And she was like, oh, she held the baby, and she was like, this baby is mine. No one else is gonna take this baby. You know, I was like, good for you, Linda.
So when you brought that up, it reminded me of the abortion. What did you guys think
Oh,
about?
Lexi?
Yes, the fact that
I
she
love
went and got an abortion and put Pearl's name down
Mm.
and didn't put her own name. Like she used Pearl's name as if like what did you guys think about that?
Lexi. Like, she, to me, and I did like the fact that she actually opened up at the end when she talked about all these standards that she has to meet to be perfect. But she was just so selfish when it came to so many things. Like, all she cared about was herself and making sure that she looks good. And even when she said, oh, I had to put your name down because if my name was down, it would mean something. Like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, oh my God. And even when she stole Pearl's story to get into Yale, I feel like I'm just say that in general,
Oh.
they like love to steal other people's stories, other people's culture, other people's styles, and never give props to where it came from and then capitalize on it. Like, they had no problem doing that. And it's just like, I don't even mind if you would, like, admire my style or whatever the case is, but at least say where it comes from. Like, don't be talking about, oh, you invented the Bantu knots. Well, you ain't doing. Would Black women been doing that? How long? Like, stop it. So it just reminded me with Lexi's character, what she did, what happens today. That happens all the time. And Lexi is just all the way messed up for that. And I felt like, Pearl realized that when that whole abortion thing happened, and her mom was like, yep, I told you. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even the fact that, she dated a Black guy, which was like, okay, you're dating a Black guy. But I feel like she sort of wore that as like, oh, I'm a white girl from a certain type of family, and I'm dating a Black guy. Like, I don't know. I feel like she carried that as a badge of honor, sort of, rather than really like, this is the man I choose to be with type of. I don't know. I didn't like the relationship dynamic.
Okay, so with Lexi, I feel like during the show is a really learned, like a learning process for her, because obviously she's 17 or 18 or whatever, how old she is or whatever, right? She's coming across a lot of issues that honestly you have to learn to you honestly you have to learn certain things, like
through experience. Yeah,
you have to learn empathy for other people. You have to learn that you're not like the center of the universe or whatever. And that's not just for her, that's for most people. Like, when you're at a certain age, you have to realize there are other people. She's just in a place of privilege where the world teaches her that there is nobody else but you, perfect little white girl, like this, like whatever, so she's in a society that kind of enforces like this narcissistic attitude that most white people grow up like. Most white people have like this sense of entitlement where it's just like other lives, other ethnicities and what they matter or whatever, right? So it's like they put themselves in a bubble where it's not necessarily racism or whatever. Like, I wouldn't say Lexi's racist, but it's like a faction of like microaggression that makes other people who don't fit your mold feel uncomfortable. Like, her boyfriend doesn't come to her house because you and your white family make me uncomfortable. Like, yeah, you're not racist, and yeah, I love you or whatever, right? But there's a faction of you that makes me feel so like I don't belong here.
Like, other.
Yeah. And it makes me uncomfortable. Like, I don't think Lexi's racist. Like, and yeah, maybe she does like accessorize people, like how Moody says. Moody was like, yo, she only keep you around because you her little Black friend, right? Like, yeah. And a lot of teenagers do that, not necessarily with race, but with like, oh, I got my funny friend, or oh, I got my lit friend, and a lot of people do accessorize friends. Like, you're in a very like vapid stage in your life. So like, I don't even 100% fault her for that, but it's like she might accessorize her Black friends as like personality traits. Oh, I'm not racist. I have a Black boyfriend. Like you said, Mika, like I have a Black boyfriend and I have a little Black friend. Look how diverse I am, you know?
Yeah, but you still say racial things. Like even I think when that scene when they were like picking up food and she's like, oh, that's when they don't go to college. Like, what you mean? What are you talking about? And like, how do you guys feel about the whole like, oh, I don't see color comment? Because like when she was arguing with her boyfriend, you know, when they were breaking up or whatever, she's like, I never really thought about your race. I don't see color. Like, what do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I think that's a remnant of like what her mother taught her. Like, because I think that's the language that her mom speaks, although it's not necessarily true. And I don't know that I would say that Elena is even a racist herself. I don't think that she is.
No, she is. She says a lot of racially charged things.
Yeah.
Like when she found that Shorty was smoking in the crib or whatever, she was like, "Oh, like, just because your mom's not a crack whore, who's a crack whore? Who is a crack whore?"
When she said something about Jesse Jackson, she was like, Jesse Jackson says that, so that means you can use African American. What, one Black person represents all Black people? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and I think also like she constantly, that's a good point. I didn't think about that because the Lexi's boyfriend said that one of the things that made him uncomfortable is every time he would come over, Elena would bring up how her mother or grandmother like helped to integrate Shaker Heights, and it's like, why is that a point to make? And why is that something that you feel like you have to highlight just because there's a Black person in the room? And I think that also, like, in the fact or the way that we see that Lexi was accessorizing her boyfriend, maybe that's the same thing that Elena did by offering.
Oh, go off.
Pearl's, I forget her name.
Mia.
Kerry Washington's character. Like, why did you open up your home to rent to her when you looked at her as a Black homeless woman? And that was also just to show, well, you know, Elena's a kind person and she opens up her home to a single Black woman who, you know,
she
may not be able to make rent
off for that day.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And Carrie, you don't realize that I'm not Mia's character, Carrie's character, Mia, or whatever, right? She's not a charity case. I'm an artist. That's who I am, or whatever, right? I have, like, I'm in the times and you will never be. Like, I'm an artist. I'm not your maid. Like, I do my best art in the morning. I can't come in and do your dishes, Mom. Like, that's not who I am. And you sitting there forcing me to be a maid. Why? Because I'm Black and I'm poor? You think I'm a good maid? I am not. Okay.
I forgot about the maid fact. Oh yeah, she's definitely racist. I take that back.
But again, I don't think there are when white people hear racism, they think of the Klan, they think of like the Nazi, and it's not necessarily that. It's when you feel like me and my natural state isn't good enough for you, tell me that's not some white supremacy. That's some white supremacy. Like, white is supreme. This is what you should like strive for. This is what your goal should be. If you don't look like us, if you don't sound like us, then that sounds like, you know, boo-hoo on you or whatever, right? Like, we are the goal. Like, that inherently is racist because I can be Black and successful at the same time, and I don't have to assimilate to white culture to be successful or respected either.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't have to be like you calling me the N-word to be racism. Like, you have literally said so many racial things, and it's like your intent behind it. Like, why did you ask me to be your maid? Like, what were your intentions behind trying to help me? It's like literally trying to make yourself feel good when really it's just something that's racial and messed up. So yeah. And they even touched on like the whole like mothering like a Black child versus a white child. Like when you know when Pearl and Moody got caught in that truck or something like that, and then they came home, and it was like you could see the panic and the worry in Carrie, which is Pearl's mom. her
And she makes
face.
that palpable too. I love it. Such a good
Oh
actress.
my gosh. Ah, she's such a good actress. The emotion she does with her face. But she was like, Pearl, get in the house. And then like, Elena's like, it's not a big deal. He's like, he's just security. No, it's not a big deal for you because you don't know what cops do to Black children. Your white kid is gonna get a pass. My kid isn't. And she was like, thank you. Like the way she did, she was like,
yeah, like they'll never get it because this is also this is like set in the 90s. This is way before the social media age where we hear hashtag Tamir Rice, hashtag Trayvon Martin, where this is like ubiquitous. They are literally killing children on the spot. And George Zimmerman was a security officer too, and he best believe he took a child out who was minding his business in a neighborhood, in his father's neighborhood, by the way. It wasn't even like he was just roaming some random streets. Like, people criminalize not only your skin color, but they also criminalize like your culture. If you're playing hip hop music too loud, there's a case like Jordan Dunn. He literally was killed by a racist person because he was playing hip hop too loud. Do you know? I can paint the scene right now, like a grumpy old white man, and he's hearing some like bo bo bo, and he has this rage in him he thinks it's okay to cause violence to a little Black child. And we get almost no justice because this is the society we live in. That's not the society Elena lives in, because like police, law enforcement, our children are safe. No, police, law enforcement, they're looking at Black children like they're the problem. They need to be policed.
Right.
Yeah, that's very well said. I agree. Yeah.
So what did you think about the whole, like, you know how like they kind of had like moments of like Elena discussing her career and like having Izzy, and like kind of how like that impacted her being who she is or whatever. Like, do you feel like that happens to women a lot in the sense of like having to choose family life versus your career?
I loved that scene that they added in the show. This not in the book, or not really in the book, but they added the scene where it was more so her husband's decision. He was like 3, he was like 4 is exactly like 3. Like, why are you tripping? She made the decision that I felt like Lexi made the decision that her mom was too afraid to do. Like, just because you're pregnant doesn't necessarily mean you're ready for motherhood. Like if you don't want a 4th kid, don't have a 4th kid. There is nothing wrong with terminating that pregnancy. You are not ready. You will not be a good mother to that child. And Brooke, you were not a good mother to that child. You were salty the entire time.
Entire time.
That's so true. Like I think I felt for Izzy, because she, from like when they show the throwback scenes from when she was little, like her mom always looked at her like with remorse and with resentment, like
and that's your own personal problem.
Right. And it's like, that's another thing, like she should have resolved that issue. Like if you decided, okay, I'm gonna go with what my husband wants, then find a way to like still love that child despite your feelings or whatever, your emotions. Don't bring that child into the world and then treat her like trash, and then she develops a bunch of problems because of it.
And everybody realized that it's not in just like in Izzy's head. Everybody peeps that you're really hard on Izzy. Everyone can tell it. Why can't you make changes and be like, oh, let me figure out my daughter. Is my daughter actually gay? Like, maybe, like what's the problem?
Yeah.
Make an effort.
Right. And it took like Izzy running away for her finally not to call her Isabel. Like, finally at the ending, she's like, Izzy, like, really? It took all of that to happen for you to realize.
Mama had to lose her house. She had to get pulled out of a burning house. She's like, all right, it's okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think her whole life is just messed up, and it's messed up because of her decisions. Like, I think if you look at Mia's character, some of her situation is because of her decisions too. But I think also it's like sometimes as a poor person or a Black person, like the choices that are laid out in front of you are not as vast as like, you know, somebody who's more privileged. And I think like when you look at Elena's choices, you're like, that's a direct, like you have direct consequences that I can connect, like why your life is the way it is now from the choices you made. Whereas Kerry Washington's Mia's character, I think Mia was like, some of the choices she made were hard because she didn't really have much of a, I guess like when she couldn't pay her for college, she could have gone back home, but then like she wouldn't finish school, and like what kind of life would that have left her with? Did she have to become a surrogate mom? Like, did she have to rely to the dad and run away? Like, I don't know. I feel like her choices were like far more limited than the choices that Elena had.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna read a little deep in that in Mia, because honestly, the whole "we're secretly rich" thing really hit a nerve. I don't know, it didn't hit a nerve with me because it's like, yeah, but it hit a nerve because like I feel like that's so selfish. It's so selfish that you would put me in this nomadic lifestyle, and like that horrible story that she had of this girl who had so much, and then like she took like her little toy horses, and like that was the reason why they couldn't love that anymore, because it was that heartbreaking that she didn't have her own place. Like the fact that you would keep that from your child because you want to be a struggling artist so bad, and you want to like live this life of poverty, I don't know, out of like rebellion or something. I don't know, because you can make connections. You can swallow your pride and make connections with your mom, with your dad, with your baby daddy, with a lot of people or whatever, to give your child a better life. But you're like you know, struggling through like to what? To prove something to somebody?
No. But
and it's a little selfish, because it's not like me, like Pearl was okay with all of this and she was like, no, she like missed out on a lot.
No, I completely agree with you, Vicky. Like, it's funny, like they're both selfish in different ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know, Elena was selfish in the sense of like she has these unrealistic standards that she puts on herself. Like she made all those decisions because she has to live that perfect life. She has to be this perfect person, and then she projects that on her kids. And literally makes
they all stressed out.
Crazy. They all bugged out at the end. You know, little fires everywhere. Literally fire in the house. And then with the mom, like with Kerry Washington, like you just said, like she was super selfish for not thinking of like the best type of household for Pearl.
Girl, so, a good mother, honestly, and I've never like really been a mom, but like a good mother really does swallow her pride. Do you know how many single moms that don't want to deal with their baby daddies, but they have to because I'm trying to like provide something good for my child? You have to swallow a lot when you want to be a good mom, and it's like it can't just be, you know, me and my baby F the world, da, da, da. That's not always good for the baby. The baby doesn't like when does the baby sign up for this life, you know?
Exactly.
That's a good point. And I think like I think that with Mia's character, why do you think that she held on to that piece of like that photo of when she was pregnant in the bathtub? Like,
that, oh my God, I have a theory on that. I think because it's like she doesn't want to sell her love the same way she doesn't want to sell Pearl, because like Pearl is like somebody that she loves. She's not going to give Pearl away for $10,000 or however, you know, much they were going to give her for her surrogacy. The same way she loved Pauline Smith or however that woman was called or whatever. She has a problem selling things that she truly loves. Like she's an artist, she creates, but when she has like a real connection with something, girl, you have to sell it. It doesn't, it's okay. Artists sell things. It's okay.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, like even the spider one or whatever. They actually don't explain what happens to the spider one. Like that spider thing that she had on her mantelpiece that everybody was like intrigued with or whatever, right? They were like, oh, that's beautiful. Like how much? She's like, it's not for sale. Why? Don't you want to pay bills? Why? Why is it not for sale?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I'm balling. Like, I don't really need to sell that. Like,
what's wrong with you? Girl, I just saw you in the trash bag yesterday. I'll give you $40 for that. How much?
Right. Like, you picking out furniture from the garbage. Like, why?
Why do you think there was any meaning behind the fact that she liked to produce her art like by burning stuff? Like she burned a lot of things. Like why?
Oh, I thought she just burned the picture of Elena's face. No?
No, I think even the spider thing over her.
I think it was made with ash, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And even when she did the shape.
You know what she does in her work?
Yeah.
She repurposes a lot. I just realized that. Like almost a lot of the art that she creates is made with something else. Like it's repurposed. Like there was another thing that she did. It was popping. It was like she took pictures and then she like messed the pictures up, like made them like all like splotchy to create something else. Yeah, you remember that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that's like the reoccurring thing that I've noticed. Like even with the pictures that she lit on fire, yeah, everything is like repurposed.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like indicative of something else.
I did like the her art piece at the end of the entire town. I thought that was pretty dope. Like the whole, like it was all white and perfect, but it's like, really, is it perfect? Like what, like what's really underneath it? And I remember there was actually an episode where I think she was just shopping in the mall and she was listening to the recording of like the Shaker Heights, whatever. And they talked about it being integrated and how they were the first town to be integrated and all this stuff. But apparently a lot of white people started moving out once they saw the black people coming in. So it was like, are you guys really integrated? And do you guys really care? Do you feel like you know, you were forced into this and, you know, it just happened where I think the other thing that they mentioned was that they started paying people to stay in the town, like the white people to stay in the town.
Right.
And it's like, are you really integrated? Like, is this like a really little perfect world? It's not. Like, there's so many underlying issues that nobody has dealt with. There's so many underlying issues. And I even I found it interesting too how, like, remember when BB Mayling's mom was short for cash for her baby milk? It was the same amount of money that Izzy was short when she was getting on the bus. I think it was like 80 cents or something like that. I don't remember.
7 cents short, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what happened?
That was the name of the episode. Yo, Mika, do you have like a light or something? Because you looking like a whole shadow right now.
I know. I should turn on I'm going to turn it on.
Word. You looking real like Ransom Note right now. Yeah, so I just found that interesting about
now there's a glare, right?
Oh yeah, now there's a glare.
Maybe it's better. Better.
But it is better.
Trying to get my hair to kind of hide the light. Okay.
Nah, you're good. But yeah, that was what was I trying to say? Yeah, like you know, there's all these underlying issues and these racial issues that, you know, are in the town, and they want to project it as perceive it as this whole little perfect little town.
I loved that conversation that Lexi and her black boyfriend. Yo, that black boyfriend low-key woke as hell. Like, I like him. Oh, he came through with the fact. She was like, oh, but she gave away her baby. And he was like, well, actually, they had governmental programs.
Right.
I was like, go off.
Yes.
Health services, maybe food stamps, something. Maybe it wouldn't be so hard for her to take care of the baby as a single mom, you know?
Right. And I just feel like it just really shed light on how we treat immigrants in this country. Like, we treat immigrants like they are nothing. Like not everybody immigrated from somewhere. Like, how are you gonna sit here and tell her, oh, some woman's gonna take the baby? No, that's her mom. And maybe she didn't have the you know, the funds or anything like that, but we don't know her past, what she was running away from like.
And postpartum is actually a real thing. Like, Shorty
Mhm.
was in the hospital. It's not like she dropped the baby off and was like, doo-doo-doo. No, she was incapable of taking care of her own child. She was malnourished or whatever, right? She had no, like, I think they said they were like, she was passed out and she was like in a mental ward or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She did that baby a favor by giving it up. That is a selfless decision.
Exactly. And I was actually arguing with one of my friends about it because she was like, oh, she was like, why would she just leave her baby like that? But I was like, that's the best she could do in the 90s. Like, she's an illegal immigrant. Like, where do you want her to go? What do you want her to do? And yeah, like the whole point that the boyfriend had said, like, if we had certain systems in place to help them, like, we don't. Like, even today, we don't have systems in place to help immigrants, but we have no issue coming up with a wall. We have no problem spending money. Like, I think we spent like over $5.7 million on that wall. No issue. So don't tell me we don't got the funds or anything to help like immigrants get on their feet when they get here. Like, it's BS. So it's like, it's just sad that it's still the same way today, even though that was like taking place in the 90s. It still goes on today. We just don't care or don't want to care. And it's like,
Honestly,
we have no problem doing a government shutdown. None of that. We'll do that just to build a wall.
Honestly, I really wish Mia, Kerry Washington's character, could get some therapy. Because when she found out Elena offered BB Chow $10,000 for her baby, it like triggered her. She was like, I was offered $10,000 for my baby. Oh nah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It was a battery. It was the same amount. Like, babies cost $10,000.
Asian and black baby apparently.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think that the show is so layered. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that was like Izzy's little project. Remember, she had like a project that she did in school, and how you know, she had the dolls and she priced the dolls and everything. And I feel where she was going with it, but like I was like, the
No,
execution wasn't
I
that
loved
good.
it. I loved her project, but it made such a good point because you can have a valid point, but it does matter who's saying the point. It really does. Like, you can have like, there are certain times where like a white person will say legit facts, like, oh, you know, there was this Asian man or whatever, right, who got arrested for something. It's some crazy story. If I find it, I'll send it to you guys. But like, he got arrested and he was denied a lawyer, and like they were treating him super unfairly and stuff like that. And he came to court with blackface on, and everybody was like, yo, what are you doing? He was like, oh, y'all want to treat me like a black person, so here I am as a black person. Okay. I see where he was going with that. Because like, the court system do treat black people really unfairly. But sir, that is what, and it matters. It matters who says what, because it's like certain messages can't be received well coming out of certain people. Like, you can actually be speaking facts. And like, she made her little project and it was really well done and stuff like that. And she was about to pat herself on the back. And Carrie was like, let me know where you got me messed up at. Like, I see where you were going. But it's like, it honestly matters who tells certain stories. You know, like, not everything's for you. Like, when Lexi wanted to be included in the Black Club, she's like, but why can't I come? Not everything is for you. Not everything is like, you know, we don't always need a white savior. Okay? Like,
yeah.
Yep. But anyway, trying to wrap this up.
On Little Fires Everywhere. Closing thoughts.
Right. So what did you guys take away from it?
Being a mom is not easy.
Yeah.
At all.
That's the top line for me too. Yeah, being a mom is not easy. America has been unfair. The dawn of time, and it continues to be. Things haven't changed in the last 20 plus years, because I think even though this show was set, and the book was set in the 90s, I think it's very reflective of exactly what culture and America is today. So, yeah.
Yep. Agreed. And I just think it also talks about like, you know, like motherhood takes a certain type of selflessness. And I feel like if you don't necessarily like heal certain things in your life before you become a parent, it's like you could kind of project that on your kids.
Or even not even like before, like even because Elena, there were a lot of times where it's like, Elena, just you didn't have to say that. You could have done, you could handle that better and stuff like that. You can always grow and evolve, like.
Yeah.
I think maybe like it stresses the importance of being like self-analytical when you are a mom, because you're raising a whole human being. If you are not responsible for like your words and actions, you're messing up this whole person's life, and he's gonna grow up to be a messed up person.
Yeah.
Right.
Who doesn't have a nice little childhood trauma to like, make their personality pop?
Yeah, and I think I do love the fact that it shows that we're all human beings. We're not perfect, and we're all going to be working on things. But like, try to fix the situation before it turns into a big fire.
Word.
So
Elena was in the fire truck talking about, wow, my kids really don't like me. All of that.
Literally had all these little fires everywhere and just didn't take care of anything and just let it become a big fire. So it was a good show, and I mean, if they do have a season 2, I'll be looking forward to it, but I think it's good the way it ended.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, and my name is Gigi.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Nika.
And this is
A Word at the Table.